Wow, so this is like
Nice.
the after hours for you, literally. You just got off work.
After hours.
Would you say that you're living the dream?
Yeah, I would say that I'm living the dream.
I actually had this guy who worked for us a little bit. I was about to do sales, and he's like 45, and I swear every time we'd get on a call, I'd say, "How's it going?" He'd be like, "Living the dream, Cameron."
Yep,
And like,
that's what everybody says.
I don't know if he was saying it ironically or unironically, but it doesn't matter to me because I liked it a lot.
Anyone who says that, no one says that unironically. Like, oh, I'm just living the dream. If they are, props to them. Do you see billionaires like in interviews and they're like, how are things going? They're like, living the dream. Nope.
I think it's good office talk, and I think that corporate America should keep it up, though, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
little water cooler talk.
yeah, exactly. And that's why I have that channel in our Slack called Water Cooler. I don't know if you knew that.
Do you actually?
Mm-hmm.
For remote people to go hang out, they go into Slack huddle and they're just like,
Yeah.
how's it going?
No, I'm serious. It's one of the first channels when we hire somebody on. I'm like, all right, I show them Slack. I'm like, okay, this is the Water Cooler channel where you can just go and like share memes or whatever. And I explain to them the logic behind it. Gen Z doesn't really get it, but
Yeah.
millennials do, and above.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's
What's
one
a
thing
water cooler?
So one thing COVID ruined was the ability to go into a break room, just hang out,
Facts. But we're
Post
bringing it
up.
back.
post up on the water cooler. Oh, what's going on? Chuck,
Hey,
how's
Amy.
it going? Chuck, what's going on?
Hit on Deborah a little
Yeah.
bit at the water cooler.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, hey everybody, I really do appreciate you guys, all the interaction that we've been seeing on our Instagram recently for the Towne Crier podcast. Appreciate the follows, appreciate the shares. I mean, I've been seeing the analytics. It's exciting stuff. So maybe this will be our episode number 3 will be our biggest one yet. Hopefully, because we have, I won't say his name yet, but we do have a certain somebody coming on. Oh, and look who it is.
What's up?
Wow, out of nowhere.
Ah.
It just lets you right in.
Yeah.
Y'all, I think I'm pretty close right now. I don't know if I can get a little further back. I'm gonna rescale how I have this set up here.
Thought he
Can
had
you turn
center
your-
stage turned on or something where
There
it
we
like
go.
zooms in.
Yeah.
Could you turn chroma key on so we can get the green
Yes,
screen
get
working?
at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not giving you guys that much power. No way.
yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I just see myself on a beach on the cut downs of this podcast.
Yeah.
You just like start putting different backgrounds on me.
We asked all our
I-
guests to come in with a green screen just for our own
Yeah,
sake.
for flexibility, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew, Chase, I didn't have to worry about like audio or video with you. You show up and it's already like 4K, pristine audio,
Yeah, ready to
Figured-
go.
ready to go. Meanwhile, we're like over here like messing with all our stuff, trying to get it all right.
Oh yeah, what was the tech difficulties today?
I don't know. I was just making sure it was shooting 4K. I don't
Yeah.
think it is. I don't even know. I think it's just
No, I
doing
think it
1080.
is.
It says
Is it?
1080.
Let me look in the settings here.
Everyone
I can't
says
tell.
1080, but it's good enough. It's better than last time. Last time was 720.
Yes,
Obviously.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But
Gotcha.
I did change the settings all the way to max to have it up to 4K. It might be
Mm.
limiting it right now because of maybe my camera. I'm using a Logitech webcam, but
Gotcha.
should be. I don't know. We'll see.
Say
It's
that
good.
one more time. What kind of camera?
I'm not.
A Logitech, right? Like logarithmic technologies.
That's right.
Yeah. Am I wrong?
Yeah,
it's
you are slightly.
Logitech.
It's
Logitech.
It's definitely Logitech, guys.
Yeah.
It's not Logitech. There's no
Yeah.
way.
It's a new brand. It's a new niche.
A new brand.
Yeah.
Brought,
It's a
brought to you
boutique.
by Beavers.
Yeah.
I also got my Rode mic here.
Hey, you're
Mhm.
NT1.
So I was trying to
Rode.
pronounce that wrong. Did I not
Yeah.
pronounce
no,
that wrong?
I got you. Yeah. No,
Okay,
that's how it's
okay,
pronounced.
cool.
Is Rode. Yeah.
Yeah, Rode.
Real talk. I did hear a girl pronounce Bose as Bose the other day, but
I
that's a
like it
girl,
though.
so-
That's bringing up the you're
the French.
elevating the brand is what you're doing at that point.
I'm doing them a favor, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, hey, Chase, thank you for being on. I do want to give you an introduction here, but first of all, this is Josh Showalter. Josh, say hello.
Hello.
What's up, Josh? Nice to meet
How you doing? Thanks for coming on.
Thanks. Yeah, get to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Josh is out in Denver, as I said, and you're out in Washington State. What city again? I always forget.
Kalama right now about to be Vancouver, so I'm moving closer to the hospital. I was telling Cam about that a little earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But my my wife is pregnant, so we're expecting pretty soon.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
that's exciting. But,
Boy, girl,
yeah,
have you figured it out yet?
We have, but it is yet to be announced, and my wife will murder me. She will be alone in the hospital if I say.
Not making the announcement on the Town Crier podcast.
No, I can't. Y'all are trying to get me. You're trying to get me. Yeah. I'm gonna send it to her and
comes out tomorrow.
Yeah.
I was strong, babe. I was strong. I didn't say.
Yeah. That's the title of the podcast. You'll never believe.
Oh my gosh. No. Yeah. That's funny.
Well, okay. Well, yeah. So welcome to the Town Crier podcast. We're gonna get into hopefully plenty today, or tonight. But yeah, I guess what you've just been doing is you just got off set, didn't you?
Yeah, I just got off set. I was doing a shoot for one of the brands that I work for called Connecting Threads. We had a shoot at a location today, and I had 2 shoots yesterday, which was wild. I was like dying at the end of it, and so today, like, this is my last one. Tomorrow is just editing all day, so it'll be a pretty chill day.
So what is this? This is a reality TV show?
Oh no, that was yesterday. So
I can't keep track of all
yeah.
these.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ones, but yeah, this one was for a brand, and basically it was just they have a lot of new products. So a lot of that is product videography and BTS. So getting a lot of like brand videos and stuff like that, and a lot of BTS for socials. Like every company now just wants like a little bit of long form, but a ton of short form content to just cut down.
Okay, gotcha.
That's what it seems like.
Is that primarily for social media, like short form, or are they just using it across all of their brands?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're right now YouTube Shorts is actually like I'm getting a lot more requests for YouTube Shorts specific because the approach for them is a lot more like doing some long form in YouTube when you're creating it. It's still very short, but when you're creating certain things like YouTube, Instagram Reels, they're the format of them is pretty different. So,
Did I see too that YouTube Shorts is about to start monetizing as well?
Yes, and I thought they had already done that, and I don't know if that was in beta or whatnot, but I thought I saw somebody's statement on my feed. And it did not look like a lot. So, and that influencer has a ton of followers and really good content. So I wonder if they're still trying to figure that out. It's still better than TikTok's creator fund, right? I mean, nobody's getting anything except for notoriety on that. So
yeah. TikTok is like the quickest way to blow up, but not to stay. That's why if you see any TikTok, like up and coming TikTok creator, they always say like, oh, my Instagram's better. Because they're trying to just get funneled people over to Instagram and other avenues, right? So
exactly, and you have to, you have to use TikTok to funnel to other. Just like you said, there are platforms that don't care about discoverability at all, like Twitch. And if you're just doing Twitch and you're just streaming, you're missing out on a lot of retention by getting new and newer people on. I have a friend who streams actually on TikTok and Twitch, and she'll use TikTok to bring people to Twitch. But apparently TikTok is is kind of wild for live streaming. Seems like pretty weird.
Yeah. Do you know of any creators? Like, is anybody in the space getting concerned now that it could potentially go down in the U.S.? I don't know. I don't know much about it.
For TikTok, I don't know. One of the brands that I work with just started a TikTok. They're pretty behind in that kind of thing. There's not a lot of other brands in that space. And so, obviously at this point, that's pretty behind to start a TikTok now, especially since it might, go away. I think people are really trying to focus back on Reels because Reels are doing really well. But yeah, I think... I have no idea if people are really like seriously worried about it as far as like losing out on, big opportunities. But
another platform too that's making like a big comeback. Speaking of creator fund, is Snapchat. So I don't know the full details of it, but Snapchat started paying creators out for Spotlight or whatever they call it. I think that's their discoverability. But I know there were some big creators. I think on Impulsive, so Logan Paul's podcast. him and Mike Malak both said that they're posting a ton more on Snapchat because I guess Snap is paying people a ton of money now. So I don't know when that started, but they're making a big push to try and bring people back there because that's like kind of fallen off pretty hard.
Yeah, I feel like I'm always wary when they pay a bunch of people to try and make something blow up, like you have to. But what was that? I was on a social app not like 3 months ago. What was the one where you like basically you get an alert and you know take
Be Real?
Yeah, Be Real. Yeah, I was on Be Real and like all my friends were blowing up about it for like 2 months and then just they all stopped. So
we haven't stopped.
You guys haven't stopped? Oh my gosh.
No, we're still
add me on Be Real. I'll get back on Be Real because everybody
should.
else I knew just dropped off. So
Oh yeah, we're committed to it.
You're
I don't care where
committed
I
to
am.
it. Yeah.
Oh, it's time to be real.
it's
And
right.
then-
Yeah.
What if it happened right now in the podcast?
That's right,
I'd
yeah.
still do it.
It happened last time, I think, Josh. Or
Oh, really?
I think when we were
Yeah.
recording it one time, maybe
Yeah.
not.
That's
I don't
great.
know. But yeah, that'd be kind of clutch. Well, Chase. Here's the thing. I do want to kind of start at the beginning for you because something I didn't realize about you until I went and kind of read a little bit more on your website for Ryan River Media. So you were born in Germany. Is that correct?
So no, I was born yes and no. So I was raised in Germany. We were born in Huntsville, Alabama. Moved to Texas, lived there
Same
for a
thing.
little bit. Same guy, different font, very different font. One's Helvetica, one's Comic Sans.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we moved there, I think, when I was like maybe 8 or something like that, and we lived there for a couple years. My dad was in the military, so we flew
Okay, I
around
figured it
and
was
moved around.
military.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Which is
And-
why the name Ryan. Well, it's my last name is Ryan, but we used to every day like driving in Wiesbaden. We're driving across. We look to like the left going to the base, and we see the Rhine River every day. And my mom is this crazy like overachiever mom where she's incredible, but she every time we'd go to any landmark she'd have us memorize its importance, the day of its creation, that kind of stuff. So every time we'd drive on it she would be like, kids, what's that to the left? And we'd be like, the Rhine River, Europe's most important inland waterway. And like then we like go on and then like she'd see a statue and we'd do the same thing. But it just because that was the thing that we heard the most, that's ended up being why I named it Rhine River. There's a little nod to-
okay. Okay.
Huh.
So it's your
Wow.
last name and it's a cool landmark that you kind of grew up with.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
I totally get I mean, I saw you were also homeschooled, I totally
Yeah.
get that kind of homeschool mom vibe of like every place
yeah.
you go, she wants you to memorize that. I was also homeschooled.
Did
when I
you
was
do a
younger.
Becca?
Oh
say
yeah.
it again?
Did you do a Becca? You did a
I
Becca?
did. So I was
Let's go.
homeschooled for
Okay.
3 years. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. 100%.
I like it. I love there was like a point in time in a Becca where they had these like these teachers do video a program out of Pensacola, Florida, and they would have these like teachers that looked like they were like straight out of the 80s with the big puffy hair and the big glasses and stuff like that. And
did
I was
something
like,
very
what
similar.
era are we? You did something. But yeah, I loved being homeschooled. Man, I learned more in my homeschool years than I slept through high school.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah.
I know you have a lot more freedom to do whatever, really.
Yeah.
I mean, were you homeschooled like all the way up until high school?
No, so I went to German school, public school for a couple of years. I was public school on the base on bases of a couple of years, and then I was in a private Christian school when I was a young kid. My mom ended up going to work there just so she could put us into a private school. Because we got free tuition, which we couldn't afford. So I had a very storied educational career, and then I did like 3 different homeschool programs, and then went to public school when I got moved back to Texas, and then
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Well, I guess we're similar in that way. I was homeschooled, and then I went to a private Christian school, and then actually that's how I graduated. So, but
okay,
I went
Yeah.
slightly the other way. I went private Christian, homeschool, public high school. So we're all kind of in a similar boat here.
great. That's
Yeah.
good. Can I
How
ask?
was the-
Did any of you were any of you in the private Christian school around the VeggieTales era?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
of course.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wait, hold
I
on. I mean,
remember
like when I
VeggieTales.
grew up with VeggieTales, but not like when I was in high school, I guess.
I was still going. I was Adventures
Okay.
in Odyssey. I was.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Even in high school, I was doing that. I love that stuff. It's great.
Adventures
Well,
in
yeah.
Odyssey is 45 minutes south of Denver, Colorado Springs. Is
Oh,
where
no
that
way.
Exists. Yeah. So
Ah.
focus on the
Wait, it's a
family.
real
That's where
place?
they're headquartered.
It's
So
a real.
you can actually
Eugene!
go. I believe they have a full like kind of like amusement park style where they have the
Oh, for
set.
real?
I'm pretty sure they have it down there. I haven't been over there, but it's just south of Denver where you can find them also.
Man, Odyssey Land. We gotta go.
Yeah.
Let's
So are you friends with Eugene and stuff, Josh?
Yeah,
or
yeah,
what?
yeah. We hang out, me and Eugene.
Yeah.
Are you like in the show with him?
Yeah.
You're one of the cartoon characters?
Yeah.
I found out recently that one of my former clients that I'm working with on another record in a bit is was actually like in one of the audiobooks in one of the Adventures in Odyssey tales for like maybe like a couple seasons. You know, he played a role in it, and I was like, how did I not know this? That's so wild. It's a weird crossover was
Yeah.
finding that out.
It's like a very specific niche program that like you couldn't tell to most people, but
No,
the
they
people
would-
that you tell to that understand it are like, no way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's like a little hidden secret or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, you too? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
How was the transition for you going from all those different schools, and then you said you landed in Texas, and that's what brought you public school? How was that transition?
It was good. I really liked being. I lived in a town when we got back. We lived in a town in Fort Worth, Texas, and went to public school there. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. We were always in programs and sports and stuff growing up, but I ended up like falling into swimming, and I did that all through high school. And yeah,
Nice.
I met like a lot of incredible friends. One of my best friends still to this day I met there, and yeah, it was great. I really did love public school. I didn't learn that much, but as far as like
Social side was awesome though.
the social side was great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I finally had a social life. So we had a good social
Yeah.
life. Like our parents always put us into things. We would be in
Yeah.
plays, and we had residencies at playhouses, and we had chess club, and like you guys probably know too. You probably put in a bunch of stuff, but they just like want to make sure you're not missing out on those things. So they'll go to the other side of it. And
Well, I think we all know those kids who kind of didn't venture out socially.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, you can tell them on the street. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Point 'em
I
out.
remember, especially in college, you could just tell I could just see them everywhere. I'm like, ooh, that's never transitioned really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cameron and I both went to Liberty. Shout out Liberty.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Here we go.
And you could there's a big niche of those. I've been saying niche all podcast, but there's a big group of
Word of
those
the day.
people, right? So you
Yeah.
show up and you get like the variety of demographics of who ends up there and why they're there. And a big part of it is like homeschooled, Christian school, Liberty, right? And you can spot them from like a mile away. And it's like, hey, it is what it is. They
Yeah.
end up there, but it's like, hey, maybe you should have gotten a little involved in some like extracurriculars maybe during homeschool era a little bit, but
Absolutely. That
know.
is important. Yeah.
yeah.
You gotta.
Yeah, Josh, you want to call out anybody you knew at Liberty?
Yeah. I'll call out specific people by name. Yeah.
Probably a bunch of people
on
in
the podcast.
in computer science, right?
Oh, dude, 100%.
Yes.
100%. Yeah. Yep.
They're just
Yeah,
in the corner and C plus. And just.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Just getting after it. Yeah.
Do you notice any different archetypes within languages or like specialties or like focuses?
You do more in
People?
industry. So
Yeah.
once you get into the industry, you can kind of shake out. I don't know. It depends on a lot like where you are too, right? If you go to San Francisco, the vibe's going to be a little different. People
True.
are more, it's a total crapshoot once you get out there with like the people you find. And I think it's specific companies too hire like a very specific type of person. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's language specific. There is a big joke that like there's like these languages that have been around forever, and so it's like the newer languages at the top, and the like older you go, the bigger the beard of the engineer that writes it. And there's like some languages where you got guys like, and I worked with them. I interned through college at a government contractor, and we were writing a bunch of like low level C, and there was a dude with like a 1 foot, 2 foot like white beard, and he was just like he would write code on a 50-inch TV, not a monitor, like a straight up 50-inch TV, and he would just get in and just get after it. And I'm like, dude,
That's incredible.
this is actually pretty sweet. Like this is kind of what I aspire to do, you know?
That's so wild.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, the first time I wrote a line of Java, I started growing my beard. So now I think
right.
I'm understanding where the correlation is.
Yeah, for sure.
So Chase, what was the catalyst, I guess, if there was one for you, that actually like got you on this path of media and like music and film, whatever? Was it in high school?
Yeah, it was probably in high school. We've been doing kind of like, again, like a lot of this is like my upbringing, so I can't, really pat myself on the back for any of this, but my mom, again, she put us into like every single, like you have to practice and know at least 2 instruments. You have to be going into, and when I moved to Texas, she put me into she got me an agent. And before then we were acting all the time, and we had residencies and stuff like that, but I'd never done any like commercial work until then. And so I did that and started doing that, and also doing music. That was like, I think when I was 16 I produced my first record, and I was learning a lot about AV because I was running sound at my church, and I was also doing music production at the time and stuff, and producing for people locally, and engineering and stuff. So it kind of like started slowly happening, and then I think in college I started really hard focusing on more production and engineering specific stuff, and went to the Los Angeles Film School and started learning a lot of very technical knowledge about engineering and audio, and that's kind of like where I started getting into video as well, because I started doing post-production work, and then I got in and started doing location sound, and that kind of got me into film as well. And what I realized was, when I was in high school, before high school, I really liked the acting, because of the challenge of coming up with what a character would do, and like becoming the mindset of the character. But like as I got older, I really liked creating something and seeing it come to life instead of just enacting something. So that just ended up being my focus. I just pivoted. And that's kind of how the whole journey started, and it's how I got here.
What was the record you produced when you were 16? Was it like, what genre was that?
That one was my first record that I did was my record, and so it was very like pop scene kind of music. So I was like, I really liked Never Shout Never and that kind of thing back then, and that wasn't as much of what I listened to, but it became what I was listening to more like soft alternative, like oh man, who did Dreaming Out Loud? Now I'm blanking.
I actually don't know.
Yeah.
It's Ryan Tedder's band. I forget.
Oh, One Republic?
One Republic, yeah. So I was like a huge One
no
Republic fan.
Heck yeah.
And so that was kind of like a lot of the music, that and like pop punk was a lot of the stuff that I was listening to. But my music ended up being like the stuff that I came up with ended up being like a little bit more pop than that.
Okay. Wow. Is it like, do you have it out in like streaming services?
I did. I hope it's gone now. I tried to take it down for whatever ago.
Did you sing?
Yes. Yeah. I sang and I played every instrument on it, except for the drums, because I'm not great. I can barely hold drums down, but and I can program drums pretty well, but everything else I played in.
So you played piano, I'm guessing. You play guitar,
bass.
bass.
Yeah, I did
Any other
percussion
random
on all
ones?
of those. Yeah, I did
Okay.
pretty much anything. Like I had like ukulele on one and some
Yo.
mandolin, stuff like that.
Oh, a mandolin. Oh, I've always
I-
loved the mandolin.
I like it too, and I'm not good at it, but I can play it enough to be in not like a major instrument. You know what? That's how I play around it. Is like I'll play like generally a range on the instruments that I'm better at, like piano and guitar, and then supplement with things that I can, as long as it's not a main focal instrument, I can. Because the human ear can only distinguish 3 things at one time, so as long as I get those 3 things down, then I'm good. I'll get that in the range.
Oh, wait, hold on. What did you just said? The human ear can only distinguish 3 different sounds at one time. I've never heard that before.
Yeah. So if you try to focus on more than you'll notice that your brain is focusing on another instrument. So you can hear everything together, but when you try and focus on an individual instrument and hear the notes that are being played, you're only able to do that with 3 instruments at a time.
Like we only have like 3 outputs in our brain or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's basically like 3 inputs, like with 3 receptors.
Inputs.
So it's the same thing with like color theory and film, right? Where a lot of film has the 70-30-10 rule, where they'll break down color by 3 types of colors. One doing 70% of the colorway, and they do this in pre-production when they're setting with art department, right? So they'll decide what the colors are and color theory based on what they want the audience to feel, and generally that tone goes through most of the film. But you can accentuate things, like if it's an apartment scene and you want the audience to feel kind of like sad or dejected, maybe that you put blue as the main focal color of the 3 colors, and then you like maybe make a more muted color for the 70% color. And it's the same thing with music. So when you're creating, if you overproduce, that's generally meaning you're putting in too many instruments that are trying to be the focal point. And so you can do some of that, like in fixing that with mixing, but mostly that happens in the arrangement. Just like in color theory, it happens in pre-production and within the art department.
Okay, well, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard that angle on it.
Is that why Outer Banks is shot with like this super heavy sepia like
super yellow
tone? Yeah.
That is like a heavy grade, and I really like that grade. I was actually you know what, Cam, I was with Chandler at his apartment when he was watching Outer Banks. He was like, I love this show. I was like, yes. He was watching it with and we were working on a thing, and he was like, dude, I love this show so much. And we look at that grade, and I was like, that's a pretty heavy grade. And he was like, yeah, I like how they took the chance. And I'm like, you know what? I do too. Like, not enough. Like certain, you'll get a heavier grade in certain things, like Stranger Things, where they can do that. Like, you can do a heavier grade if it's meant to be in a certain time period or something. But I feel like I respect it a lot when it's done well, and the heavy grade is done well, like the colors and the choice, you can tell it was done beforehand, and like they knew what they wanted to go for,
right?
And they were just kind of bringing out what happened on set. So
right, Stranger Things I think uses a specific lens for a lot of what they do too, like whatever millimeter lens it is from the 80s. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, the Tokyo, something like that. I know that it was like a big thing in Batman, that they had also used like a specific like 35 millimeter vintage
Which
lens,
Batman?
like the most recent
Dark
one
Knight?
with
Robert Pattinson.
With Robert Pattinson,
the Batman.
Batman.
Yeah.
They had like a 35, like $200 35 vintage lens that they had for that car chase scene where the car flips and explodes and stuff like that. They had like a $200-300 vintage lens on there that was just like a 35, and it made a really like interesting look on it. I remember seeing that scene and being like, oh, this is really cool, before I ever heard about that. And it totally makes sense. Like, we do a lot of stuff to emulate looks like that now. Like, we have like things that do like focal distortion. We have like mist lenses and stuff like that where we're diffusing and we're trying to constantly modify light and stuff like that. But modifying lenses and using different types of lenses for different purposes, I think it's like super cool. I don't do it personally because I'm in more of the corporate world and I can't get away with
too much
doing
artistic.
that. No, because then they're like, this.
Yeah.
I know Spencer actually
cool.
shot with like a Super 8 on one video for Profile Pack one time.
Oh,
no
wow.
way. What?
Yeah.
That's
yeah, just
awesome.
for one scene, and he put it in there. It's very artistic, but that was like the only shot. But it was pretty cool.
That's so cool. That's a
Yes.
great idea. Film is so expensive right now. Did y'all hear about Kodak?
No.
Kodak announced that they were raising the prices on all of their film by a lot, like by a factor of 3 or 4. I need to check the numbers on that, but it's by a lot. They've raised the film prices.
Everything's
for
like skyrocketing,
movies?
like all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
It
Huh.
is, yeah.
Yeah. It's like Kodak doing that. And then very similarly on the exact same, in the exact same style, the McDouble is now like $2. All of the McDonald's prices have gone up. Like, so it's no longer
That's when
like
you know
really
it's bad.
Yeah.
Josh
it's
is
like-
always
the-
tracking the McDonald's.
The
so.
dollar, that's a good, if you want to know about your
That's true.
economy, look at McDonald's, right?
Right.
That's
Value
true.
menu is, I
yeah.
don't know if that's value anymore. Maybe it is. Maybe it's keeping up, but I don't know if everything is keeping up with. It doesn't feel like everything's keeping up with that.
Yeah.
So Chase, do you have any like personal? Are you like a big movie guy, or you just shoot them?
Yes, I'm a big movie guy. I don't get around. I'm more of a show guy now because
Okay.
I don't get. My wife doesn't like going to the actual theater. I love going to the actual theater.
Same.
Oh yeah.
Such a big theater goer, so I like.
Yeah.
Did y'all do Movie Pass, by the way, ever? Back
Oh,
when it
yeah.
wasn't the thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
Josh got me into that, and I
Yeah.
got screwed. But yeah, he did it for a while.
You got screwed? What? How did you get screwed?
I just forgot to use it.
Oh, I shut them down personally.
Dude, I feel that 100%. I remember the
absolutely
first time hearing about that, I was like, there is no shot that this lasts longer than like a year at most. Like, there's no way that this makes sense, anything like economically at all.
To be fair, they lasted longer than I thought they would.
Yeah.
They absolutely stuck it out. And actually, College Humor had a really hilarious video. I think that Brendan did that was like the CEO of Movie Pass, and he's just like. He's got big bags under his eyes, and he's like asking the people for change in the studio that are like filming the interview. It's hilarious. But yeah, I just saw. I'm in the beta for the new Movie Pass.
The
Did
new
you see
one.
that?
Yep.
New Movie
Yeah.
Pass.
So the original one, they just ripped through cash. So
Yeah.
all the investors' money that like went into that, they just burned right through all of it. And then now they're trying to come back. It'll be really interesting because now, since that happened, that came and went, like Regal and AMC and all these other theaters now have their own style of monthly $29 unlimited movie kind of thing where you make it up in 2 movies. So it'll be really interesting to see how they come in and try and bring back the original like OG pass, but make
Absolutely.
it worthwhile. And I feel like too, the cadence of movie releases has gone down. Like I feel like there used to be so many movies coming out, and obviously
That's true.
COVID and stuff disrupted that a ton. Now I feel like it's okay. Maybe we'll get one really good movie, say 3-6 months, and that cadence has like basically dropped to where it's like before it's like, oh, there's probably a good movie coming out once, twice a month, and Movie Pass would be worth going to just see anything. So
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, but it also means that every movie in the theater has to be like a massive hit. So it's got to be just like a big blockbuster thing, which I miss just going to see a regular movie in the theater.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. Like the technology's changed. TVs are nothing, there's like Dolby Atmos sound bars now. Like there's, everybody's doing, it makes it more accessible, which is good, but also we lose out a little, I think, on the theater experience.
Yeah.
What do you think the best movie was of 2022?
Oh man,
That was shown in theaters.
that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember every movie that came out.
Yeah, I actually don't either.
What about y'all? What's your favorites?
Of just all time
Of 2022.
2022
can't
is probably a
think
good
of
place
any
to
right now.
start. Yeah.
I
What did we
honestly
see in this
I
year?
can't think of. I don't know if I even went to the theater in 2022.
The
I
Batman
didn't.
came out.
The
So I did
Batman
see
would
that.
probably. I did see the Batman. But I saw it at home. I didn't see it in the theater.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's kind of the problem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
more
okay,
shows I think stood out in 22 than movies. You know,
Shows
I'm
were
trying
incredible.
to think.
Arcane came out, which was phenomenal. That was probably my favorite show that I've seen. Animated. This is my favorite animated show that I've seen in years. It was so good.
Arcane?
Arcane.
Yeah, I don't know if I know about this.
I don't think I do either.
So it's based off the video game League of Legends. I think
Oh.
I'm not a big League fan, but it was phenomenally done. Like, you should both check the trailer out after this. It's super good. And I feel like there used to be a kind of like a trope about like video game like properties that also became films or vice versa. Like, there'd be like movies that they would put into like make video games out of that'd be terrible, and vice versa. But I think that was phenomenal, and I think a lot of the like we get more and more of these like Last of Us,
Right.
the show.
Yep.
I don't know if y'all saw that yet, but
Not yet.
phenomenal. First episode
Yeah.
was I haven't seen the rest, but first episode I loved it. I thought it was great. I feel like they're doing just more properties based on video games. I think they're doing a new Tomb Raider,
Yeah.
which is cool. I'm a big shows
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
They
because
wanna
I think
cast-
it's bite size. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people are like want to cast Batista as what is it, the God of War, that video game.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I've never played it. I just see the clips, like the memes
Yeah.
clips, like
Yeah.
about the pit
Oh.
bull attacking the child and whatever. I don't know. There's some dark stuff, but
I watched my
Um,
friend stream it, and
okay.
it seems like a pretty fun game.
Yeah.
yeah. So that's all I.
One movie that I think followed the trend of video games but wasn't based off of a specific game that shockingly didn't do well was Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise,
Oh.
right?
Yeah, the movie did do well.
The movie.
And Emily Blunt. Yeah.
And Emily Blunt. And it was
The movie did
based
well. What are you talking
off
about?
of No, it didn't. It flopped
didn't?
at the box office. Yeah.
Oh, I liked
And
it.
I thought it was a super good movie.
Yeah.
And they basically based it off of like when you play a video game and you like understand where all the like how to like go through the levels, and then you die and you know how to like easily make your way back to where you died. They kind of took it off of that concept in real life with him like dying and reliving the same day. And it shockingly just like didn't do well. And I thought it was like really entertaining, well done. They had a good cast. But I think that was slightly ahead of its time, at least with that genre.
Yeah, it's you just never know what's gonna take. Like, I liked
Yeah.
the Uncharted movie with Tom Holland was Nathan Drake and
And Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg, yeah.
Yep.
I liked it. I thought it was good. It wasn't phenomenal, but I really enjoyed it, and I don't know if it did super well because I didn't hear anything.
I don't think
much
it did,
afterward.
but I loved the games, and I mean I enjoyed the movie, but it didn't like
Yeah.
stand out to me, I guess. But I don't know.
If you guys, if y'all could make a movie out of any game, what would the game be?
Ooh.
Dang.
Fortnite. Probably.
Let's go! Oh my gosh! Oh, it's 90 minutes of flossing.
That's right.
exactly.
It's every meme
It's just a
dance
meme,
known
yeah.
to man.
It's
Yeah,
so
it's
good. Well, like with the new season too, like I loved that cinematic. They took all these properties. Fortnite does that better than anybody else. They do a great job with getting properties on board, like collaborations. You don't see any other game doing that well doing that.
Yeah.
hard.
They tapped the culture value of
Yeah.
any possible thing. TikTok dances, Travis Scott, like all.
They got
anything
every
that-
brand deal possible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anything that becomes like a sliver of popular or relatable, they
zeitgeist,
throw it
yeah.
as a skin or an emote or whatever.
Absolutely.
So
And they sell a
Crazy.
ton of those skins. I know.
Yeah?
My wife has bought 1 million of them.
No way.
Yeah, she loves them.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, your
Cameron
wife
and
should
I
hop
play.
on.
Yeah,
Cameron and I
with the
play
squad,
this.
squad
Yeah. Yeah, we unashamedly play this with our college friends
Because
and-
we started playing it in college when it was like becoming
Yeah.
popular.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we just kind of never stopped after college because it's like a good place to socialize with your
Yeah.
friends
Yeah.
and whenever, you know. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm not ashamed, you know.
Yeah, but we have like guys that come in and play, and we jump in the lobby, and they're like, "Dude, those skins are so much sicker than mine. I'm gonna go buy another skin."
Yeah.
And they go and buy a skin, and it's like Fortnite capitalized on that. They made it free, made it accessible to literally anybody, and then people just pay like all kinds of money for it. So
and nobody hates on them for it. Like there's, like everyone really loves the value. I think they show the value instead of just like, hey, you could do that. And they also, it's not like pay to win or anything. I
Exactly.
think that's a thing where like some companies will do that. Like people just like bag on EA because everything is like an additional cost, like everything's a DLC. They put out incomplete games and make you buy everything to do the thing. They didn't do that. They gave you a full featured game that like, hey, we'll also give you cool value if you want to like impress your friends and like do the skin or like, meme on somebody with this this dance or whatever. Like, I think they did a great job with it.
Yeah, so we're going to start writing this. Yeah, go ahead, Josh.
Go, you're good. Go for it.
So we're going to start writing the screenplay for Fortnite probably this year.
That's great.
It's going to be a pretty intricate plot, I'm sure.
It has to be, yeah.
It won't be like the Hunger Games, I swear.
Or
Battle Royale.
Yeah. Battle Royale, and then it's just Hunger Games cloned, and then every time someone dies, you just get somebody that goes up on top of it. That's all it is.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's I love it. That's good.
Yeah, I feel like we just got a bunch of like Gen Z TikTokers together. We could write a great script for that.
100%.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
I don't know. Just follow every trend.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting question though. Like, what other games would make a good screenplay? Like, there's a lot of really good plot games that I feel like are getting more of a focus, but they're more like the open world concept took like I feel like caught fire, right?
True.
Like Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh
like,
yeah.
One of the biggest like cinematic games, open world. They nailed the graphics. The plot was good. Like, those kind of games that really caught on.
Red Dead was great. Red Dead 2 was incredible. I loved Red Dead 2.
I haven't even finished playing it yet. I've had it for months.
I haven't either, but I did love it while I played it.
I'm loving it still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
They made a show out of Cyberpunk, which was really good. That was really
The show was.
Yeah, the show was.
Is the show called Cyberpunk?
Yeah, it was called Cyberpunk. It wasn't called Cyberpunk 2077, but
yeah. Okay. What is that streaming on? Or who has the rights to it? I don't know.
I don't know. It's either I think it was Netflix. I'm pretty sure it was Netflix. It was really good. It was really well done.
Because they had real actors in the video game, like Keanu Reeves, right?
Yeah.
But no way they actually had him in the show, though, did they?
No, I don't. I don't know how much I should spoil. But it's like in case you haven't seen it, but it's not a 1-to-1 of the video game. It is like in the same like realm, but it comes at it differently, if that makes sense. Whereas Arcane has a lot of the same characters that are in League. This doesn't really, like, it does things differently, and that's all I can say without spoiling it. But
okay, fair enough.
It's good if you like animation. It's really well done, and your car doesn't spawn into the ether every time you try and go over a bridge, so that's nice. It already has a 1-up over the game.
Yeah. There was a lot of those games that happened where game developers tried to rush the games out, right?
Yeah.
So Cyberpunk was one of them.
Yeah.
There was another really highly anticipated game where that exact same thing happened. I forget the name of it, but it was some like sort of indie type game, but they rushed it out, tried to get it hyped up. People started playing. It was like half done, and then the whole community just like rebelled against them for doing it. So that happened a good bit. I feel like in the last like 2 or 3 years, people trying to like capitalize on hype.
They did, and I wonder how much the pandemic had to do with extending those, because they always said that a lot of it had to do with the pandemic, but I also feel like those games take a long time to make, and there's lot of moving parts. I wonder how much it was just that, and how much there was like other things where they were like, oh, the scope of this is actually way bigger, and then scope creep ended up turning into that just it happens. So
100%.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I do want to shift here before we become the FaZe Clan, and just. So, what would you say, Chase, has been, I guess, your favorite project you've ever worked on in media? I don't know if there's any. I guess I'm kind of trying to say, are there any projects that our audience might be like, oh, I know that one, or any big names? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot that people would recognize, but my favorite were like, so I did worked on a couple songs for Leona Lewis that was fun. And I did some tour stuff for her. There's a lot of artists too, like on my website, you'll see the whole list, and I really enjoyed them. I think my favorite thing that I ever did was it was so fulfilling. I did the music for 2 animated television shows, which I had done a lot before and I'd done more recently, but this one was like a kids educational animated television show, and it's meant to help with EQ or emotional intelligence. So it teaches kids how to, like process their emotions and how to act and react appropriately and stuff like that. And being able to write and compose a lot of the songs that ended up, pretty much every song had a music video as well, and these are songs that kids are going to be like, for me it's just like I went through a lot of turmoil of like going in, like as a kid, like being alone at school and then going into like interacting with people. And so I had to, and I'm still learning emotional intelligence for certain things that I was like, when I was doing the show and I was working with the writers, one of whom, Allison Stoner, I did a lot of records for as well. But when we were doing this and writing those things, I just felt like super blessed to be able to, I was like feeling like, oh yeah, these are like actual actions and reactions that I didn't fully process until super recently. And like, if I can help with this, help a kid understand their emotions and how to process them in a healthy way, and not use the things that I saw in my everyday life and culture as the escapism that we're kind of like, put into, like, I think that is the thing that I'm most proud of. It was called Q Wonder, the show, and it was like this little monkey Q, that was his name. But yeah, it was a super fulfilling project, and it was probably my favorite thing I've ever done.
Wow, that's really cool. When was that? How long ago was that?
Oh man, that had to have been like 6 years ago.
And what role did you play with it?
I was a composer on it, so I produced a lot of the music for it, and yeah, so that was most of it, and I co-wrote some of the songs.
Okay, so you're doing like all the production.
Yeah, the arranging, production. I did the mixes for it, and yeah, so I was producing with my production partner at the time, Mark Grilio, and I co-wrote it with Allison Stoner and Brock Baker, and
wow.
The show was created by Sophia Dickens. She was a fantastically talented, multifaceted human being that came up with this. I mean, it's a whole thing. It's got like a toy and an interactive app for kids to be able to go through, and it's a fun thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this is something you probably maybe want to apply to your own upcoming child, I'm guessing. Maybe?
Yes.
I don't know.
Absolutely. I am. I'm going to be like 10x worse than my mom was.
So given that was so long ago, or relatively so long ago, do you feel like that was earlier on to where like that experience was so good, and all of the new projects you've worked on since then, you're still like, this is not yet reaching the bar that this project like hit in terms of like fulfillment, and like it sounds like something that's actually helping society rather than just producing like meaningless content kind of a thing?
That I feel like I've done a lot of work that I'm super proud of, and I love doing. Like, I like the work that I did today. I like the work that I did yesterday. I love a lot of the work that I did with Profile Pack. So, I mean, I think that it's hard to. At that point in time, I had reached my 10,000 hours, And in music production, I had done so much of it that I got into, and as incredible of a process as that was, I was burning out a little bit because I was burning the candle at both ends. LA is just a little wild to do music production in. But I think that it helped me, like you said, I really treasured the fact that it was going to help beyond. I really, everything that I loved creating, like I created this record with Zach Callison, who is also super incredibly talented, that I loved as well, because, and there's so much in the lyrics and the music that is like emotionally connects to me, and that's why it's important to me. And that's what I just realized was like, I love, and I'm really super blessed to be able to do what I do every day. I love media. I love creating things. But when I can also create things that help other people emotionally, mentally, spiritually, I think that just elevates it in my mind. And that's what makes it not just something that I like or that I'm proud of or is technically good. It's something that I'm, that really, speaks to me.
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying there, emotionally, spiritually, and all that. I think a lot of times for me, it's like we have a feeling, and we want to basically share that feeling with the world, basically, so that they can experience it also. But getting it to that point is that's where the work comes in and building on it.
Yeah,
but it's an amazing feeling when you do it.
Yeah, it's the most rewarding bit, and like, yeah, it's super super rewarding.
Yeah, that's cool.
So what would you say to somebody who is maybe just getting started and just wants maybe a career in media but doesn't really know where to go? That's a pretty general question. I don't know if you can answer it.
I would say don't get discouraged. Like, it is really hard to make a career in media unless you know what you want to do, and you're not going to know what you want to do. I've worked every single job in media, every single job. I've been a composer for film. I've been, post-production supervisor. I've been a videographer. I've done every single thing that you can think of in media, and it's okay if you don't know what you want to do. You just go for it. Just do it. As much as you can do. And it's hard because we live in a time where if you're not seen doing, then people perceive it as not having value. Don't fall into that trap. Like, your value should be external. It shouldn't be, it shouldn't be like based on what other people's perceptions of you are or what they think you're doing. Like, my least favorite thing that I used to fall into as a trap was that, like, big things coming 2023, it's okay to, as long as you're doing work that you love and that you like who you are as a person, that you're growing as a person, treat people with respect in media, and it comes back. Like, really, like, just be someone who can be relied upon, go the extra mile for people, and you'll do great. It doesn't matter what you end up doing. You could be in sound one day and then be in a gaffer the next day, and it's fine as long as you treat people with kindness and respect, and you don't hold your value into what other people perceive of you. You're gonna do great, and you'll find happiness in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's well said.
Great. Yeah, that is great. Do you find that you've encountered people in the industry on different projects to where a lot of people share that same sentiment with you, or is it kind of a mixture between like people who are clearly kind of chasing after their own success versus people who like really want the production to be good and they really want their craft to be kind of honed in, or they really want to like make a big impact in the stuff that they're doing?
Yeah, I feel like it's situational. I've definitely come across people that have different mindsets in the industry. LA is a hard place to make it. I'd say like people's natural instincts are like, go to one of the big production hubs, go to Atlanta, go to LA, go to New York, but you can do a lot where you are. And when people are there too long, I was there for 10 years, And you start to realize that people can get pretty guarded and pretty cynical because it's a hard place to make it. So people aren't always as open to share and to. But if you do that, you will get taken advantage of. But it's always worth it. Like, people will take advantage of the kindness, but it's not about them. At the end of the day, your mindset on set is about you. You know, the more you like see what you're doing on set as a blessing, and that it's an awesome thing that you actually get to do and to create with these people, like, that is going to turn you into someone that, regardless of if people take advantage of that kindness and the generosity that you bring to others, it's going to be something that people see, and then you're gonna, it'll come back to you as well.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I know, you're still in, how many years have you been in Washington State? I know I'm shifting a little bit.
Now, one in a couple months. So I'm pretty new here still.
Oh, okay, never mind. You haven't even been there that long. I was gonna say, who do you think the best artist, musician out of Washington State's been?
Oh, I already know who but they're not out of Washington. They are on the PNW though. My friend Zach has the band called Floor, which you know of, that you've heard.
Oh,
of.
Yeah.
no
Oh wait, that's
way.
right.
Yeah.
I forgot you knew Floor. You know Floor. That's right.
Yes. Yeah, they're fantastic. They're an incredible band. One of the best shows I've ever seen live.
I saw
I'm really
Floor.
blessed.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. I saw Floor at Meow Wolf in Denver last year.
Hey, no way. How
great
are
show.
they? Yeah.
Oh, it was so good. Yeah,
Were they
I've been
playing
a fan of
Future
Floor
Shine?
for
No, they weren't. Probably.
no at
Or were
that
they?
time I don't think, but I've been a fan of them for years now. So that's fascinating.
They're a phenomenal band. Really, really good. I listen to their music all the time.
What's your connection with them again?
I'm friends with Zach and Kate, the singer, and
Oh, okay.
so she actually. So when I was talking to Cam last about that, my wife does set deck with her.
That's
So
right.
they were in LA working on a set for this podcast. Actually, man, what's it called? Ludwig has this podcast. I forget what it's called.
Oh, I think I know Ludwig.
Yeah. He's in the gamer world. It's called The Yard. So they did the set for the podcast called The Yard. But yeah.
Okay, that's
where I was
cool.
going with that, but that's
Yeah, I
how
didn't-
they know each other
That's
too.
cool. Yeah.
Okay.
And we've all
Yes.
just been friends through, and we we met through our mutual friend who is like a tour videographer who did stuff with them too, who's one of our friends. He created this Discord during the pandemic. At the beginning of the pandemic, he created this Discord called the Dial Up. So Dial Up Internet Club, I don't remember. We just call it Dial Up. And that's kind of where we met like a ton of our like close friends now too. Is like we had nothing to do, and so we were just in Discord. Even when we were working, some of us still had jobs at the time after all of the mass layoffs and everything. And after everything shut down, we were just in Discord. We in a water cooler voice channel every day and just hanging out.
Nice.
And doing the thing, playing games, and yeah, that's kind of how we met like a lot of our really close friends now.
Yeah, I mean that's what me and Josh started this podcast was amidst the pandemic in 2020.
Oh yeah.
Nothing to
I mean
do.
it was
Yeah.
yeah, nothing to do, just sitting on our butts all day. I mean it was crap quality back then, but so that's what we
Hey.
revamped it
Yeah.
recently.
Well,
But-
we would call each other and we'd have these super long conversations, and we're like,
Yeah.
dude, I feel like we've got like semi insightful something like, but we really started it. We're like, we should just record this for ourselves because I feel like we have good conversations just between us. Like, not that we need to publish it anywhere,
Yeah.
but it all like spawned out of that. But I think Discord too. I wish Discord would have made bigger waves during COVID, just across the industries too. Not even just gaming. Obviously, it's very gaming specific, but
Yeah.
like having used all these different platforms, like the Discord voice chat, and now they do video, and like everything they do has always been so much better than most of the platforms I feel like out. So
Yeah. That's true. It's way better than Slack. I prefer
yeah.
I prefer it to Slack, but Slack has its advantages too, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm in Teams for the my day job and stuff like that, and it's fine. But I totally
Yeah.
agree. Like Discord became a thing that I fully expected the like industries to take advantage of, but I
Yeah.
think they just kind of, because of the branding, didn't take it as seriously as it should have, because it has a big offering, you know.
Yeah.
What do you think about ChatGPT in the media world?
So didn't this? I think ChatGPT, they offered a subscription right recently. I think they announced that they're going to do a subscription for the bigger portion of the dedicated.
I actually don't know.
GPT. I think that's new. I think that's like the last couple days the CEO announced it. I'm saying a lot of stuff here. You guys are gonna have a hard time fact checking all these things. You're just gonna go
it's
through,
all
what
good.
did Chase say?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure they're gonna do a subscription. I think it's gonna be hard. I know that they were coming up against lawsuits and stuff like that because, you know, basically they're scraping, you know, copyrighted works, like. And just because it's being recomposited doesn't mean that it's not using the same material, right? Like if you create a song and you use a sample from a vinyl record, you know, that record has copyright on it, and you're taking, you know, two things. You're taking the, you know, songwriting is split up into two things: the publish part of the copyright and the songwrite part of the copyright. So you have like the actual music as like a hard copy, and then you have the actual song that was written, and you're infringing on both of those copyrights by taking, you know, that piece of that song and putting it into, you know, a new song. But that's the same thing with like art. I think it's incredible, the thing that we like. I think this automation is going to save us a lot of time, and like the things that it'll do, especially for industries like marketing, where they're writing copy like constantly. Like I have an AI copy thing that I got from AppSumo, which Cam's heard me talk about AppSumo. Like
Oh yeah, I get all their emails.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I apologize.
No, I've been checking them out myself too.
Yeah,
it's
that's
actually
good.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great. But so I got one of those, and like what you can do, like say you're doing targeted ads in Google Ads network. You can go through and do, like, they'll save you so much time on keyword mapping because it's scraping the internet for popular things, right? Like, if you give it a good enough prompt, like a detailed, like now it's like, I think that this is not going to fully replace people. It can't fully replace people, but it's going to make people's jobs different. It's going to change because now people are going to be valued based on, like, do you know what you need to search for, right? Like, do you know the prompt that you need to make? Just like Josh, where it's like, yeah, I can copy code off Stack Overflow, but I need to know what to copy, right? Like it's not simple like that. You need to know where to put it. You need to know like how to. This is not going to replace people at all, I don't think. But I think that it is an incredible tool, and if they can figure a way to not infringe upon a ton of copyrights, I think it's going to be hugely successful. And I think that there's going to be another, you know, bunch. I think AI in the next like 10 years is just going to explode.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the copy piece is really big. There are so many tools now that are coming up to specifically around marketing and just like generation of content that is really hard to detect plagiarism, right? Like you can rephrase things so quickly and so easily to like circumvent plagiarism checks and any type of like plagiarism, I guess like from a legal standpoint. What's interesting that you mentioned like lawsuit stuff is on the art side of things.
Yeah.
And so like the art side of things, DALL-E came up, and DALL-E I believe is also OpenAI, and DALL-E could generate art based on a number of different things, but you could produce art in the style of certain artists. So you could say, create something that is oil on canvas that's styled similar to fill in the blank, you know, and it would produce art that looks very similar. And so what they were doing for a long time was they were preventing you from generating art that matched artists that were currently alive, because the copyright stuff came into play, where it's like, if you're an artist and I say, generate me content or generate me like, a mountain scenery in this style based on something that Chase would produce, it could produce it. And now who owns that? Right? Do you own it because you are the artist like style? Does OpenAI own it? Does the person who generated the prompt own it? And so it opened like a huge gray area in this kind of thing. So I think that's going to continue to evolve with like how they manage to figure that stuff out.
It's very confusing to me. Like I don't know. It can get really, really convoluted really quickly. But actually, this brings me to a good. Who knows if this is a good question? But Josh, what do you think about like who do you think is responsible in like a Creative Commons dispute between OpenAI, who I believe they're who developed and open sourced the software that allowed other people like ChatGPT to use it. So if somebody uses, like if a person uses ChatGPT or something to do something that causes a copyright strike, who of those three people are at fault? Is it the person who does it? Is it ChatGPT or the framework that it was built on? Like who's responsible?
Super interesting question. I think OpenAI to some extent has to kind of field some of the blame there. I think it's really difficult, and I don't know what's in their terms and conditions on people using OpenAI for anything, like how they've like ironed that stuff out, because I'm sure there's terms and conditions when you use it that directly impacts that.
Absolutely.
I think that's what they're getting a ton of investment from a lot of big tech. Microsoft, I think, is right now powering most of it, and they've put like $10 billion into it, especially since it's free right now. They're just ripping through cash. So I think a lot of that is like really unknown. I think they're going to have to figure out like, how do they license it so that if you're paying for it or if you're using it in this specific way, how can you leverage it to where you own it? Do frameworks need to build on top of it to use the core service that OpenAI is providing, and then the frameworks can own it? Or can those frameworks like leverage that to pass that off to the creators that are using their platform? So there's like a lot of unknown. There's a lot of ethics that comes into play here too. That is like the center of debate, right? Like AI ethics in general is like a massive question mark. There's a ton of stuff like the train problem with Tesla, right? With like self-driving, it's the same concept, like, you know, so there's a lot of like open-ended questions with AI. So we're like barely scraping the surface of what AI can do. And then from here, like we're going to build on this in the next, like you said, like 5-10 years to see like how this gets leveraged across like all these industries, because it's going to disrupt like everything.
Absolutely. And I'm most excited about, and selfishly, it being implemented in like creative softwares, like Canva integrated AI in that way for like, you can create graphics by doing prompts. It's not great. It's on its way, but obviously Canva has a lot of other offerings. But I would love to see more things like that, like a smart tool for Premiere or for DaVinci Resolve or something like that, where maybe you have like a multicam timeline where you have 3 cameras set up on one person doing an interview, and you can just import it and then it'll automatically cut where you'd have different things.
Totally.
Things like that would save me so much time. Like right now, we already have an auto captions feature in Premiere, so we can just have it. It still needs work, and like you have to go through and manually change some things, but the amount of time it saves is really awesome. And I'm not worried about it putting me out of a job. There's always going to be the need for people to implement the technology as it evolves and stuff, but I'm excited to see what it does in the creative realm for content, you know?
We're going to do a full episode actually specifically on ChatGPT, and
we actually
we're going to talk in depth about it. But I totally agree with that. Like, I think anyone who knows the industry that they're in and they understand what ChatGPT can do and AI as a concept knows that it's not putting them out of a job. Like everyone knows that. And it's like, you got to understand you can leverage this as just yet another tool. And if you can understand how to use it well, like you can increase your own productivity like really highly. So there's a lot of there's so many, like I said, this is going to impact like almost every industry. And so it's just people that can utilize it to like tailor it to what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I always say this when it comes to podcasting. ChatGPT is the new crypto for conversations and discussions.
Yeah.
I just swear the last 5 years or 3 years has been all crypto. Now it's all every podcast you watch, ChatGPT this and that. So
Yeah.
that's just,
Yeah, I could see that. I think that it's a good comparison.
I think they did a phenomenal job too. Like the power of that tool, they could have charged so much money, and
A lot,
they're
yeah.
going to, but they were like, we're going to make it free. We're going to get feedback for how people are using this.
Yeah.
And we're going to basically catch fire in pretty much any like social media news outlet ever for
Yeah.
this thing. And they like very successfully did that. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
now people that understand it now, if they say, hey, we're going to charge $10 a month, I'd pay $10 a month to use it. I think a lot of people would, where they're like,
Oh yeah,
I'm going to have access to like unlimited information almost, you know?
absolutely. Do you know how much time it would save, Cam, if we had ChatGPT for scripts, and then we'd have
Dude,
the
I
script
know.
writers just edit the script that they write to make it
I've
good.
already been thinking about
Yeah?
that. Yeah.
I knew it.
Basically,
Like,
basically, I'm just gonna go to the client and be like, "Hey, do you want to spend $500 for writer pack? Will you have your own writer?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then we'll just throw it in a ChatGPT, and then here you
and then
go.
have the editor just edit it down.
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
Yeah.
Make
Well,
it
like,
make
yeah,
sense. Yeah,
Someone else did write your script for you. We're not gonna tell you who,
Yes.
but
yeah.
yeah. But
That stuff, copy, like short copy is
Copies,
that is
yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
the best use for it. And I'll shamelessly plug like my own company, right? I work for Crier, which is a notification platform. We just implemented OpenAI's like API for this, and we use it. We do notification content. So I could type in there, I can create a new notification template and say, generate a password reset email. And you know exactly what those emails look like. Hey, here's your 6-digit code. This will expire in 30 minutes. I can drop it in like one line and generate it, and it populates the whole thing, and it saves you like, I mean, that's a short copy in general. It'd probably take
Yeah.
you 15 minutes to write yourself just to iron out everything. That can do it in like 15, 20 seconds now. And so like any type of copy like that is going to like, that's where this will excel and be like the biggest impact, especially in y'all's field. Like you guys can use that like an infinite amount of things.
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's
Agreed.
coming where it's just gonna take over all our scripts basically. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Agreed.
But
yeah.
anyway, go ahead, Chase.
Oh no, I'm interested to see where it goes in songwriting too, because
Oh,
then it's
true.
like who registers the copyright for that? Do they still
Yeah.
do you still register the copyright for that if like a majority of the song was written by AI? Did AI basically steal any sections that you have to worry about that you wouldn't know from other popular songs that like you're gonna have to, because we got a ton in the last like 8 years of like copy, like now like the state of entire industries has changed. Like now there are whole websites that are dedicated to music libraries, because people are using music on their content for everything. Where it just I used to work for a music library as a composer, and they were basically just like very old school. It would be like you would have a hard drive as an editor in an edit bay. You'd have a hard drive of music that was completely cleared for all of your uses. You'd go through as your show and your timeline, and you would put the stuff in as temp stuff. If it was good, then you were good to go. You just had to register the title that you were doing. Now it's completely changed because people are like, well, we're using content on everything. Like me, I do content for 5 brands every month, and I have to use a ton of music. And if I use any popular sounds, we'll get a strike. Like if I use, and it's a different thing when you're doing it as a brand than when you're doing it as an individual. So I feel like that becomes even more of a next issue, where it's like when people are writing music for music libraries maybe, or specifically for things that are repurposed, who owns that part of the copyright for it, and that part of the publishing.
Yeah. I don't want to open up this other can of worms here, but I don't know if you remember, like 2 years ago maybe, there was these guys did a TED Talk on basically they had done created the math equation and just had it run to the point of where they essentially had created every single song possible based on math. And like, so you can only imagine. I don't know how that gets into the whole AI thing here going on here.
Yeah.
But I just remember seeing that. I thought it was so fascinating. I don't think they had gotten it to the point yet where they could take it and convert it into a DAW, like, and actually have it produce the song. But they were like, look, this thing already made every single possible melody, every single possible BPM in 4/4, 2/4, whatever. It's made it all now. I thought that was fascinating. But
that is fascinating, and like music copyright law is so extremely weird and interesting. And I'm no lawyer, but like it's, as I've been going through in this, and like as like I've kind of like been going in my career, you get to know like a lot of weird misconceptions about like music law, where it's like, okay, does that mean they actually own the copyright for all of those songs now? Because you don't actually have to fully copyright a song. You can do, so like you can register it at a, I believe they're called PROs. They're like ASCAP, BMI, CSAC. But you also need to register a copyright with uscopyright.gov, and you split it in between two different segments of your copyright: the writing of the song and this is just the writing of the song and the actual hard physical copy of the song. But these two things, just because they're on the uscopyright.gov and they're registered there, that doesn't mean that's the only way to fully make sure you have a copyright for a song. If you play something in public that's recorded and you have like a timestamp for it, like if this is a TED Talk, do they actually have that? Because they have legal bounds to, like, if somebody does a similar song to one of those songs that was actually played, then do they have, it's a lot of weird murky gray areas with music law. And I have a friend of mine who's actually a music lawyer that I love talking to him about it, because he knows so much about this stuff, and it's very convoluted. But
have him leave a comment down below what the legality is here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll have him tell me all of that stuff. But it's very interesting, and as technology changes, it's just the laws are gonna have to keep up, because they're already antiquated. So
Yeah. Well, we're at an hour and 20, so it's probably a good point here to wrap up here. But Chase, really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
of course.
This has been awesome and extremely insightful, as I expected it to be.
Yeah.
You're a walking encyclopedia practically. So you're actually better than ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
ChatGPT is just my second monitor.
We'll create our own, where all it is your prompts just go to Chase's computer and he can respond.
Yeah.
It's you just submit a ticket and it's me just on the side. I love it.
Yeah,
but so many errors.
Is there anything you wanted to maybe close out for yourself? Anything you want to plug at all?
No, I just be good to yourself, be good to each other, love people, and
where can people find you if they want to learn more? What's your website? What's your socials?
Yeah. So RyanRiverMedia.com. I'm actually in the middle of redesigning my website on Webflow.
Better hurry.
Yeah, I know. It's not going to be hurry. I was actually designing for a client. That's always the thing. Like you're always doing it for Physician Heal Thyself. I'll never do my own profile video because I won't have the time. But so RyanRiverMedia.com, and then also The Chase Ryan on Instagram, and then at Ryan River Media, I believe, on Instagram as well. I also have like a Facebook and Twitter, but I'm mostly on Instagram if I'm on it at all.
Yeah.
All
We'll
right.
definitely tag you. So, all right, dude. Well, yeah, appreciate it. So, I mean, it's not too late there in Washington State, I guess, but enjoy the rest of your evening, I guess.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks guys for having me on.
Yeah.
And so I'll tell your wife I said hello, even though I've never met her.
I will. I'll tell her you said hi.
All right.
All
awesome.
right, Chase. Thank you.
All right, later, y'all.
See ya.
Oh, perfect. I wasn't sure if it would actually close out. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was quality. That was a good one.
Yeah. So anyway, hopefully, next week, I don't know what we'll do. We might have a guest, or we might not. I don't know. We'll have to see what this guy, this mystery man, is doing.
The mystery AI man.
It was his birthday. It was his wife's birthday today. So shout out.
Oh, you got to blur that out.
Yeah. No, I think it's all right.
You got to blur out what his wife's name is. Otherwise, our viewers will go and dox who the.
Yeah. Or he might freak out and be like, "You said my wife's name, dude. Now the freaking government's gonna come for me."
I'm not going on there. There's no way.
Dude, now freaking FBI is gonna be all after me.
Dude, are you freaking serious? Just us doing that voice, people are gonna be like, "I know exactly who that is."
Jersey Italian, sounding dude.
Huh. I wonder who that could be.
Yeah, he had a fire B-reel today, so.
Oh really? I didn't post yet, so I got
in the lab.
Late.
Oh, dude, you better do it right now while we're freaking rolling.
Yeah, I can't. I'm filming on my phone, so.
But yeah, I was saying yesterday at my workspace there in the kitchen, they had some cookies out, and they're like, "All right, you got to answer the question. What's your favorite? What movie would you if you could watch any movie again for the first time? What would it be?" And I was like, "Oh, frick, here we go." And I was like, it'd either be Inception or Stellar. And I'm like, yeah. And then I had to peace out because I knew if I got into that conversation, I might come across a little weird and over the top. I was like, that's why I have this podcast.
Yeah. People are like, "Oh, this guy's got really aggressive all of a sudden, and he really cares a lot about it."
He's like really opinionated on this
fiery
stuff.
Debates. No, the third level in Inception, they were not there. It was
well, technically.
Yeah. Well, actually, in
Christopher Nolan actually wrote that. He was actually in his kitchen, so that actually means that
it was Christopher and Jonathan Nolan. It was him and his brother. They wrote both of them.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, frick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's good. The correct answer to that, by the way, is Inception. That is the movie you would want to see again for the first time.
That's true, because you really have Interstellar's more. You can follow it more.
Yeah.
It's just more fascinating, I guess, the whole concept. But Inception is like, you can't
it is
really.
Crazy. It's like you will never be able to experience that level of confusion's not the right term. That level of like complexity in a film.
Yeah.
Like that. And so,
but also have that feeling where you're like, I kind of get it, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Whereas Tenet, you can just watch that and be like, it's the first time I've ever seen this.
Yeah, exactly. You watch that every time. You're like, I have no idea what's going on.
No idea.
Yeah.
I'm still working on it, but.
Yeah. I just like the ending of Inception too, like experiencing that for the first time and just being like, no way.
Facts.
Like, no way.
So yeah, Inception was an all-star cast.
Yeah.
But Oppenheimer is, I guess, topping that, which is crazy.
Yeah. That's
and
pretty crazy.
Also, a point to all of that I didn't make last time, I think I've told you this, but actors actually, like A-list actors like that, they literally lower their rate for Nolan movies. Crazy.
100%.
He's the only one they lower their rates for, too, I've heard. Crazy.
And I think everybody notices, too, when Nolan finds a cast that he likes, they're in every film. And so, like Cillian Murphy, prime example. Hans Zimmer, obviously not in the cast, but prime example. And Michael Caine, it's like as soon as he finds people that works well, it's like, welcome to every film ever that I do.
Yeah. It's like the energy bus, once you got that right group of people on the bus, you can go anywhere. I actually never read that book.
Shout out Brant Tolsma.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us for episode number 3 with the Chase Ryan. And we look forward to you all hearing our voices soon. Tune in on next week's episode
of the Towne Crier podcast. See you guys next week.
Peace.